winners finals time, folks. Optic Gaming, your green wall, up against Space Station Gaming. The hometown crowd are looking hype. They're trying to get behind their boys, but Space Station standing in their way.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a very competitive crowd, if not a very competitive game in this winners final. And of course, two teams gunning to get into that grand final and have the advantage when we get there. This is the series layout. You know me, I like to look at my stats, I like to look at my numbers. I have to say, just off of first glance, SSG might be taking the advantage just based on game types. We'll get a bit more into that a little bit later.
CTF Aquarius is going to be game one. We do not have to wait long, but it's going to be vindication or redemption here. It was only a matter of time before these two teams collided on that main stage. Deadzone, Lqgend, we know what happened in the off-season, and now it's time for these two players to prove they were going to be the difference makers. They will be the ones in the big games to step up and make that difference. It's the green wall, and it's Space Station. Dan, talk to me about what we expect to see here.
Well, CTF Aquarius to kick us off, and it is a very dominant game type for Space Station. Throughout qualifiers leading into this tournament, they are unbeaten on Aquarius Capture the Flag. On the flip side for Optic, we have seen them lose it a couple of times. Even though it's another strong game type for them, it's not their best. So, leaning towards Space Station naturally, and I think that's for the reason, maybe because of Lqgend being added into this team. Back when he was on Quadrant, he was always the guy getting in the base, running that flag at an insane speed. But you've got to then look on Optic's side and who's doing the objective work. Surprisingly, Lucid has been up there. Not only has he been getting the objective work done, but he's been slaying like crazy. He was leading KD coming into this as well. So you've got to be aware of that if you're on the Space Station side. You have to shut Lucid down. We know what he can do when he starts to get free roam of a map.
And surprisingly, Lucid was just as surprised as everybody else when he heard that he'd won the award for best objective. He was asking, can you count those numbers again and double check, triple check, because he didn't believe it, but he has been the difference maker so far.
Well, sometimes when you're naturally leading in KD, when you are getting kills, you are going to be progressing further forward on the map, and you're like, oh, well, you know, I'll grab the flag, I guess, or I'll grab the ball. But he's just a player who knows how to play Halo. He knows when he has to just kind of put his best foot forward and ensure that he can help his team in any way possible. But is he going to be able to help his team into the grand final? That's the big question here, because everyone on SSG will be wanting to shut him down.
Game one, about to get underway. Formal looking locked. Will he be lasered? And will he be able to punch Optic Gaming's ticket into that grand final to give them that massive advantage, excuse me. Space Station have fallen short too many times here. Shields up, weapons up, we're underway.
Straight away, Overshield is going to be the focus, of course, but it's TriPPPeY who usually dives straight for it. I think he may have been able to grab it, he did. And that allows him to get the first kill onto Bound. StelluR will at least reply though, and StelluR usually that player who can play a little bit more of an anchor point at times, just listening to those call-outs, waiting to hear for those players to be on low shields, and then he just flies out of every nook and cranny that you could possibly think of to get that extra damage. Deadzone now showing what he can do. How good has Deadzone been on Optic Gaming, by the way? A very difficult matchup for him here, dropped by Space Station, and now it's his time to shine and him to show what it means to him to go up against his old squad.
And naturally we've highlighted him all tournament long because of the change, because it came as a little bit of a surprise. But he's silenced some of those haters, silenced some of those critics with his performances.
And his replacement, Lqgend. I wonder what's going through that young man's mind. Will he be able to prove that it was the right move to move all the way across to the United States to literally uproot your entire life so that you can try and be one of the best, if not the best? And this is why he's on the team as well. Moving that flag, getting it going, but also working alongside the rest of the squad to ensure that they just spot out any spawners. Don't want to try and force a flag too quickly.
I love this from StelluR and indeed Lqgend, doubling back, recognizing that Optic had numbers on their side. Flag still out in the generator, so perhaps a player can get a touch on it if need be. Looks as though both flags are going to be sent back home.
Flag returned.
Nothing doing, honors even, but the map still split.
Yeah, very important from Lqgend there that he just said, all right, I don't want to try and force this flag. I know that we're going to potentially go toe-to-toe with them here, and we've actually lost a couple of players, so he doubles back, plays with the rest of the squad. Next overshield's going to come up, and Legend's going to be in prime position to grab this one, and should be able to grab it comfortably because he's got support from Bound. And now you have to push if you're SSG. Take advantage of the extra shields. Yes, you've lost Eco, but just try and even things out a little bit here as it's a couple of loose shots. But Legend does finally get that kill, and now Spacestation can try and control the base.
SSG trying to shift through the gears. Legend continues to pre-fire just in case Formal got a little bit dicey. They have numbers now, 3 dead, make it 4. First real opportunity to get a capture of that flag. Gonna be a P1 spawn. Legend's quite happy to go for the pinch. StelluR gets 1. Deadzone's in big trouble of being the second. Trying to output damage as Deadzone, but Legend's there to cut him off the pass. Killing spree. He waves up. Double kill for Legend. And he's already moving forward, interested in getting even more space for his team.
I was speaking to Elamite backstage, and I was asking, how is Legend doing? Is he getting along with the team? Is he getting along with the players? Is he feeling okay? Is he comfortable? And he said he's great. He's feeling at home, and not only that, I think he may be one of the best players in the game, and we're so lucky to have him. And he's putting on a show at the moment, a killing spree right now. The Optic chants start to ring through the arena as the fans encouraging Optic Gaming to get back into this one. This is the expectation. SSG should be winning this game type based off of stats, but Optic will always want to try and go against those stats.
Important for SSG to get that early score. Try and quieten the crowd, plant that seed of doubt. They really can be the difference maker at times. Firing up their team. And for Spacestation, they're in hostile territory. 3 go down. Legend's gonna be the first up here. Nade gets popped up, spins right into the visor of Lucid, takes him down to half shields. This is good for Optic. They're starting to descend on the base now. They've got quite a lot of damage on the map. Over shield as well for TriPPPeY. As he pushes towards top P now. Back whack goes in. 3 dead once more. Eco's trying to be an influence, trying to stop that flag, but it was all for naught. TriPPPeY can pick it up and get moving once more. Taking quite a lot of damage. That overshield has helped him immensely.
Yeah, I think they purposely waited for TriPPPeY to grab that flag because they knew he had the overshield. He could take those extra bullets, but Deadzone has been able to get another open up. Flag doesn't quite go up though, so this is a chance for SSG to stop it. Formal though, doing Formal things in the base, but it is going to be a scrap for this flag as now Formal drops into it. But I think there's going to be players from SSG in place to try and stop this one.
Flag gets pulled out, dropped to the front base. The courtyard, no man's land, nobody wants to be there. But how Spacestation simply delayed this is an inevitability. Numbers again favor Optic Gaming. Very close to tying this one up. Flag goes home, and they do punch it home. 1-1 the score.
Yeah, that was a great hold from Optic Gaming. Even though SSG made it difficult, and as you say, perhaps just delaying the inevitable, Optic didn't oversend it. They didn't overcommit to it. They played it carefully. And now Optic fans beginning to believe as TriPPPeY getting aggressive alongside the rest of the team. But one thing I have noticed from Spacestation, they will commit together. Off spawn, they ensure that either they're all gonna die or they're all gonna survive. It's not a case of just trying to send one, but then all the meanwhile, this is what Deadzone can do. A nice little distraction technique here when Spacestation were gaining some control.
Deadzone causing a little bit of carnage, as is Lucid. Laying siege to the enemy base. As they get that flag moving, Overshield's going to be pivotal here as it pops up. 2-1 the score. Optic get it home, and they're looking to compete for the Overshield.
I think Optic have been doing their research, and they've started to notice the patterns with Spacestation and how they approach the game. They've dominated the P side. They haven't allowed them to get control of it. And of course, if you can continue to dominate P, you are rewarded with the Overshield every couple of minutes. And even though it hasn't resulted in much in this particular play, because Eco's been able to steal it away from them, Optic certainly have had plenty of their share, and it really helped with one of those flag runs earlier.
Eco in the front base. Legend there too. Tried to get his hands on the flag. It's going to be Legend who gets it bottom middle, which is always a difficult place to get it out of. Bound putting down damage. Does get his hands on the flag, and there it is. It can be a bit of a mosh pit at times. Grenades go in, and they've nowhere to go but to explode. StelluR has to give this one up. At least for now. Legend's come off the respawn. He's got that touch. He's got a kill. And perhaps an opportunity then with 3 dead. Unless Lucid can perform some sort of heroics, which he can't. We should be all tied up here.
Should be all tied up. And again, it was Lqgend who said, actually, I don't feel like giving this one up. I can grab this flag from bottom middle. I've seen the grenades go in. I'm confident the other team doesn't have any left. He's able to pull out for the rest of the team and started moving and grooving. 2-2. 3 dead for Optic Gaming. Spacestation regaining control of P once more, but Deadzone's going to be there to try and compete with it. But he will fall. So now SSG have control of top middle.
These two teams, it's a little bit of a standoff for now. A lull. Formal will get a touch. Lqgend, very important that he can try and stay alive here. He gets cleared out though. Deadzone and Lucid pick up a couple. Bound has got to do damage. He's doing it, but he's chasing it. It's going to be a trade. Formal's in the front base. TriPPPeY's got hands on as well. Formal's got all the way to the car side. Deadzone's got overshield. This should be a lead.
Should be a lead, should be a cap, should be Optic Gaming taking advantage once more. And it seems like every time SSG think they've wrestled back control, it's just a quick double kill from the likes of Lucid, the likes of Deadzone, the likes of Formal. Anyone on this Optic roster has that capability to pull a double out of nowhere. And it just kind of sets Spacestation completely off of what their target was previously. As now SSG with 3 minutes and 28 left on the clock, they have to start thinking about how they get another flag back home.
Formal being a nuisance. Deadzone gets a lovely double kill as well. Lqgend's on the map by himself for the moment. His teammates have now very quickly spawned up. StelluR spawned towards the fridge. That could be very beneficial to them. Manages to get Formal. TriPPPeY could be next. A trade. That's all Optic need now. They can stop the pressure. They can hold strong. They will win this game.
And I think that would be such an incredible start for Optic Gaming as well, to win one of SSG's better game types. Would give them so much confidence going into map number 2 and following. As we've seen already, not just in this tournament, but in Halo Infinite in general, a couple of minutes left in Aqua Flag, and you can see many a flag go back and forth. So Spacestation know this one isn't over yet, as do Optic. Optic naturally getting a little bit more defensive now, waiting to see what SSG are going to do. Eco trying to tee up some sort of push.
Both teams continue the posture. Optic have map control now. Lucid slides away up the cover. They're up the shroom stairs. Lucid now in the gen. Beautiful nade kill for StelluR. Combined with the bandit, was needed too, just to stop that flag in its tracks. Deadzone continues to jiggle peek, doing so much damage again. But now we look towards time. 2 minutes. Overshield pops up. Formal in the 1v1. StelluR's going to win it. StelluR's going to get 2. This is the moment then.
This is a big moment for SSG. A double kill plus the overshield. Now you can push up. You're in a 4 versus 2 with the spawners. Optic are going to have one player probably spawn over towards Fridge, so you've got to be careful of that one. It's going to be Lucid, and he gets a big kill onto StelluR, but now he's the last remaining player. This flag will move, but will they be able to find Lucid is the real question.
Lucid was in a 1v1 with Eco. They know exactly where he's positioned. Eco used that thruster pack just to get out of dodge. Deadzone gets 1. Eco trades it out. 2 players fall for each team. 3 dead now for SSG. StelluR, but his back to the wall. Huge kill to keep this one alive. But TriPPPeY's trying to get close. TriPPPeY wants to get the kill. Spacestation are spawning up around him.
They're on the re. Can you get it? He does get the touch. Massive touch, and it's 3-3 with 1 minute left. And StelluR just staying alive on no shields was huge for Spacestation. And we're starting to look closer and closer, like we might get some overtime in this game. But still, one last push, potentially now for SSG.
Like 2 heavyweights standing in the ring, trading blow for blow. Nothing to separate them. As we head towards the final 40 seconds of this game, it's going to take a little moment of magic.
But who has the magic is the real question. Who's going to be that one player that can maybe pick up a big double kill to make the difference? Bound in the moment trying to survive, but he's also going to fall. Optic have the numbers. Can they actually get a push going? Can they get a flag pulled before we start to think about overtime? Or are both teams just going to happily accept OT here?
Down gets a pick.
Here's the pull.
Formal gets the pull, but little more than that.
However, that does start the pie chart. That does mean Overshield comes into play, but oh, that's a big stick. But the pie chart's active, and Eco says, how we'll move this flag.
Hold on a second then.
Oop.
Eco's fumbled. How detrimental will that be to the cause? Formal's there. He's got eyes on flag. Eco recognizes this. Moves his body, shifts his angles, makes sure he can't take damage. StelluR's got 2. Optic are 4 down. And this should be the 4th and final cap for Eco and SSG. They take game 1.
Should Optic have maybe just accepted overtime? That little pull from Formal, that little flag toss out of the base, it blew things wide open for Spacestation. It gave them that extra time to push into the base. And Eco said this might just be a freebie, but it all was off the back of that stick onto the overshield. Lucid had grabbed it, but he goes straight down off the back of the stick. And Spacestation will win game 1. They will win one of their better maps and modes, but boy, did Optic make it competitive.
And we asked for a little bit of magic. StelluR, P1, faced with the overshield, gets the trade, spawns back up, gets a double kill. He was the difference maker, as he so often is.
One of the best to ever do it. Averaging what? It was 600 damage per minute. Still leading after day 2 was StelluR. He just gets into so many gunfights, so many engagements. And he's such a difficult player to play against. But you could say the same, I think, for every player on this main stage as we are now into the business end of the tournament. It's Halo royalty at this point. And it's so difficult to call these games when they are that tight, when you get to 3-3. And I think you hit the nail on the head. You just need someone to step up with a big moment, because it's going to be these fine margins that separate these teams. And that's going to be a tough one for Optic. You know, they had the lead a couple of times. Only a minute left before that flag went into equalize for Spacestation. And even speaking about that equalizing flag, StelluR, if he had died, that flag was dead. But he was just dipping, diving, dodging just to get out of the way. And because of it, Spacestation find themselves 1-0 up in the series.
There can be inspiration to be drawn for Optic, Dan. You spoke about Aquarius CTF should be Spacestation's game. It was, but it was close. It was more than close. It was a nail-biter. And they can say, listen, that's one of their best game types. We just went toe-to-toe with them.
And even better news, we go into a StelluR, and Optic undefeated on StelluRs so far this tournament. They've only lost 1 map the entire tournament prior to this series, so make it 2 now. However, StelluRs have been incredible for them. Similarly to what we just saw from Rebellion, they were undefeated coming into their series. Can Optic, though, continue their undefeated run in these StelluR game types? I will say, though, SSG looked amazing on StelluR Recharge throughout the entire qualification process. Even when they had Monster on their team, they were still winning that map and mode. So they just know how to get it done. It's about the way they control that map. They control the power-ups on it as well. So you've got to be careful here if you're Optic. You do not want to find yourself 2-0 down.
And there is the man with the magic touch. We asked for something special, and he provided. He added it to the card, he checked out. There is some of the impressive damage per minute you can see. 5,000. 3rd in the StelluR, 3rd, 2nd. Mr. Consistent is what StelluR is.
Every 10 minutes, we're seeing over 5,000 damage from him. And I know we made the joke about matchmaking teammates not even reaching that throughout the entire game, but StelluR is no mere matchmaking teammate. If you ever get him on your team, you know full well you're going to be winning. And maybe SSG feel that way as well, because StelluR, he does just seem to have that Championship Sunday feel about him, as he still continues to be one of, if not the best in the game, as we now lead into map number 2, and it's going to be Recharge StelluR to kick us off.
Rocking and rolling. You better to start with than StelluR. Immediately heads towards gold, into red pipes. Grenades go down, Legend's got a pick. Camouflage remains up. It's going to be Eco to go for it. Shock rifle in the hands of StelluR. You just wonder, will he pass this one over to Eco? The answer is no. Camouflage player has been shut down. StelluR now on Sneaky. 2 Optic members in tower. Legend isolated in blue. We'll need help and need it quickly. Speaking of Legends, 4 kills off the rip. The only player on this team with kills up until that point.
One of the reasons why both of these teams have been successful throughout Slayers is their ability to slow the game down when they feel it starts to get away from themselves. Or even if they're so far ahead that they don't really want to press an advantage and give away too many easy kills, they also slow it down. I've mentioned the keyword a few times throughout this tournament for Optic Gaming. It's all about structure. And Recharge Slayer can certainly play into their hands. You can set up, you can wait, you can be patient, but SSG, they're not a team that kind of falls into those traps. Doesn't get the kill, that's massive from TriPPPeY. StelluR just couldn't find that final headshot.
Some of the scariest moments when fighting a shock rifle or sniper players, when they stand still, you gulp, you say, please don't hit this. And TriPPPeY was given a lifeline. For once, StelluR shows he's human. He's not AI generated. He is capable of missing a shot or two as he slides back in, gets the stick, gets a trade. 11-11 the score right now. On board with Eco, doing some damage to Formal. This one's on a knife's edge.
Halo Infinite can be very fast-paced. It can be a big frenzy. It can be chaotic, but Recharge Slayer can really be one of those games that slows down and it's quiet and you wait for your moment before you start to pick your chance to attack, as SSG doing just that, trying to find a couple of kills. Eco will do so. It's going to be a good double to regain control now of the map. And actually, he's going to follow up and make it a triple. We talk about Championship Sunday, StelluR, but remember what Eco can do as well. And the chip he's held on his shoulder quite a few times after Championship Sundays. As TriPPPeY goes down to bounds, setting off a remote destination.
All tied up as we head towards the mid-game. Eco's picked up a double kill. Let's go to a listen-in with Spacestation Gaming and seeing how they're navigating things.
Pushing top, back solo.
Top cap.
Hiding corner.
Up your dead.
Nice.
Make sure we're just walking.
We haven't trapped in there.
Hey, Wick. Watch out below me.
Hold on, bottom tower.
Watch out below me. Watch out below me. For more TriPPPeY now, I think. He's TriPPPeY.
Hell bound.
All we have to do is keep me alive.
Grab one, bro.
Yeah,
What's your mind?
yeah, I'm coming along with you. We might get pushed.
I think they're going pipes, guys. Look at Kevin.
Watching pipes.
Watch them, they push Kevin.
Yeah, I like that.
Hell might have seen me.
I don't see anyone.
No, bound. Turbine?
He's weak. Get a weak out. Could be guy pipes. Get this guy weak out.
He's hell.
C-jump. Weak, watch out. Watch out, C-jump.
On me.
Watch out, bottom blue. And C-jump. Again,
Watching your bad
Did he chase me?
Grab one, TriPPPeY, watch out. Watch out, half ball. I can't push that. Watch out, bottom lane. Bottom tower.
Nice. Heaven. Weak Turbine. Watch out, Turbine, Lucid.
Yep, Mangler just up.
Ammo 20 high.
Watch out, turbine again. Nice.
Mangler.
We're pushing this. Top eight.
Bottom here.
TriPPPeY.
Bottom here.
Turbine, let's get Needle.
Just sitting there. He's talking. There's one more, Kevin.
Yeah.
There's
I'm TriPPPeY with you.
Wash your pipe.
Washy, two shot, bottom mid.
Look at
bottom mid.
Watch out, triple, one shot, triple. He's stuck triple, and C-plant, he's washy.
Okay, bridge. Watch out, Turbine.
Bottom mid, shady.
Watch out, Shady. Watch out, Turbine.
Ammo, guys.
Heard Legend.
Ammo, guys.
He's top cat weak. He's going top eight. He's weak top eight.
Two top eight.
I have ammo, help me.
Keep me alive.
Two top 8. Might push grab lane.
Shot up once, there's gonna be two there.
I spent less.
I think Deadzone's gonna be there.
Top guard to the left. Two shot.
Careful.
There's gonna be two.
Pushing Brayden.
Let's keep watching. Wait, come on.
Weak back here.
I'm sneaky, guys.
I go on.
I can
One guy back here again.
Wait, watch out.
2 1-shots.
Optic Gaming down by 4. Let's have a little listen in to see how they're navigating things.
I think there's only one guy near right now, okay?
Shock is up, okay?
Need to jump, StelluR.
Look at Turbine. One guy C-plat, one guy back silo. I want to work towards A here, Zin.
Mango, okay, there's 2 guys in A now. 2 guys
I'm walking A, okay?
StelluR.
Bottom A, one shot. You go.
Lockers, he's one shot lockers. And heaven.
I'll play with two once. I'll play with tower 1. Tower 1.
Bottom A.
Yeah, bottom A is
Show them front tower.
push him. He backed up. He's not here anymore.
Sure?
Alright, yo, stay everything. I'm here, Zen.
Top tower.
Yo, shock, guys. We have to play for shock.
Here's the shot.
Might be watching this careful.
C-plot, Eco, they're hitting long, I think 2. Yeah,
Maybe,
3 long.
Yeah, I think last.
3 long.
I'm walking tower then. I'm walking tower with combo.
Might be able to get the shot.
I'm trying to get it.
Look at Tommy real quick. Long haul still,
I have
guys.
the shot, guys.
Trying to live.
Yo, we have shot. Just let Joey work.
Yeah.
Yo, glass down, StelluR. There's a BR there. I'm
Yo,
gonna
we gotta check bottom mid every once in a while,
push now.
Yeah, one guy, two guys tower on me. Two here, two here,
Top
two
tower,
here.
Eco with a shot.
Long.
Really bottom.
Got melted then.
Top
Two guys tower.
Okay, it's okay.
They're hitting me on top. They're hitting me on top, I think.
Neither.
I'm pushing A here.
Neither weak.
Either in top
Could be
tower.
top glass on me, Joey. He's one shot in gold, going glass.
Watch out, grapple.
Neos.
Last one shot.
Yo, you went.
Glass
On a
down.
main weak
Here,
bound.
glass. Push glass, Joey. Wait, caution, Joey, caution.
2-8.
One shot.
Got him.
I died.
Batteries.
Top cat weak. Top cat weak.
Hear that.
Cam one
We
time,
gotta
guys.
start
Cam
I'm
one
here,
time.
Zan. I'm here, Zan.
There's a guy in A.
Let's make a play in the A, Zan.
Top cat. Mangler, two guys A.
I'm looking.
I'm shocked.
Mangler, have shields.
I'll kill him.
One shot.
Bottom A, one shot, Legend.
Hear that.
Go to Seller, also neither.
Got him.
Top gold.
Neither still Seller, just sitting there, Joey.
Weak gold commando, and neither.
Two dead.
Commando.
Yo, let this one gold. Let this one gold, okay?
All the gold.
Circle Belgium, circle Belgium.
Go batteries, Joey. Go batteries.
Yeah.
I'm on top
Keep out
tower.
of me. Keep out of me.
Is he aping you?
Yeah, 8 me. One shot down. Nice. Shock is down there.
Yo, two guys gold door.
Yeah, say lots.
Trapped, Joey.
Top gold. One
And
guy's
glass. Trying to kill me. They're trying to kill me here.
Ballage weak, Eco.
One shot glass.
We gotta
Ballage
watch
shoot shot.
batteries.
Ballage shoot shot.
Shot glass again.
I'm still stuck here, guys. I'm still stuck here. They're pushing me.
Long all week.
Neither.
Two guys
Neither.
needles. Two guys
Yeah,
needles.
One shot, neither.
Watch long.
Down by 3.
3 kills the difference. Very quickly. Heading into the end game now. For Optic Gaming. Oh, they find themselves needing a bit of magic. And Formal's more than able to provide it.
Two major takeaways from that listening from Optic's side was it's okay, don't panic. Despite the fact they were behind, because now they find themselves ahead. For Spacestation, the call out was, let's not be sprinting, let's make sure we're walking, let's not get caught out with our gun down. But Optic, after regaining the lead now, start to pick up the pace a little bit here. 37-36. And SSG, they're caught between a little bit of a blender. There is a pinch that could happen.
Optic continue to poke and prod, trying to find the weaknesses in SSG here. TriPPPeY gets StelluR. Eco and Bound. Isolated now.
Nearing victory.
Lucid gets one. They have tower control to SSG. Formal recognizes that, immediately slams it into reverse and retreats to the cover of top elevator. This one's so close.
This is what I was talking about earlier, that both teams are more than happy to slow it down when they need to, and the camouflage is coming up in 10, so even more incentive to just try and plan, poke, prod. Opening from Deadzone though, because now with StelluR falling, it's going to be 4 versus 3 on the map, and you can see Optic begin to move. They don't think about the camo, instead they're thinking about the kills here, because if you get the kills, you'll be rewarded with the camo as another kill is found, and there's the camouflage for Lucid to work with now. Not only is it a 5-kill lead, but also Lucid can do some real damage.
Phantom mode activated. He's got his slippers on, not making a sound, killing spree locked in. Eco trying to scream in pain, trying to run, but Lucid's on the hunt, and when he's in this form, you better run, you better hide, as he gets yet another kill before ultimately being shut down by Bound.
Even despite the camouflage going in favor of Optic though, SSG have stayed close enough. They're within 3, and they do have the shock rifle. They're over at blue at the moment. Bound probably wants to reposition to an area where he can make this shock rifle count, but being in an unpredictable area sometimes gives you unpredictable angles, and Lucid teetering towards the crosshair. And Bound's waiting. He knows he's there.
He was daring Lucid to take one extra step. Strafe out just a pixel more.
2 minutes 45 still left, so Spacestation don't need to get too desperate right now. They want this pick. They want Bound to be able to find something with the shock rifle, and then that will lead into the charge.
You could cut the tension in the room with a knife. Green wall chance starts. Will it be enough to get them over the line? Both teams recognize this is a pivotal moment in the game.
I mean, it's gone on so long. Camo's going to be coming up again in 15. I'm glad we're staying with Bound, because it really does feel like he's going to be the one who can make the difference. Eyes trained towards Battlex once more, and he did see Lucid, but Lucid is kind of dodging back and forth, almost trying to bait it, but now here comes Optic Gaming. It's a push out of nowhere as the camouflage is beginning to spawn, and they've been able to get 1. Can they make it 2? Bound tries to get something here, but it is just going to be a trade 1-for-1, still a 3-kill game.
Optic are happy enough with that. Bound steps out, StelluR gets another. They've got the camouflage. They've got the shock rifle. We're down to just a 1-kill game.
And that could have been 47-47, so close to striking the back of the head there. All 4 members of Optic Gaming trapped towards pipes. Do SSG try and surround this one?
Seen stalemates in the past. Lockout was a scene for it all the time. Shoot the stalactites, you might shout. They're not here, they're not involved. Only 1 minute now on the clock. SSG are going to be forced to push the envelope. They're going to have to be the ones to make the play. Bound just wants to find the face, and he does.
And now SSG know. They know where the rest of Optic Gaming are, and look at this, they're beginning to close the gap. Bound can be on one side, the rest of the teammates on the other. 40 seconds, and they're beginning to push into pipes. Big kill from TriPPPeY though, but it's 49-49.
A 1-kill game. Lqgend could be the difference maker. They're all tied up. It's a tie. 50-50, unprecedented.
It's that close, you can't even split them in a Slayer, as it means we reset the whole damn thing. So close from SSG to making that comeback towards the end, but it was a trade right to the death to make it 50-50. It's very rare we see it. It's only a couple of times in Halo history it's happened, but that means we just go right back to the beginning.
We're going to use that little Men in Black memory wipe machine.
Forget you saw anything.
You haven't seen the Slayer. Game 1 has just happened again. Dan, talk me through those final moments. Bound hits that shot. They go, they move. TriPPPeY with a massive 1v1 win.
I love that SSG got aggressive when they needed to. As soon as you have that extra player, especially with the time on going against you a little bit, they begin to try and pinch, they begin to try and push. But the fact that Optic were able to hold and trade out that successfully also demonstrates what a powerful defensive side Optic can be. The structure that I was talking about, they literally build a wall at times, and it's tough to break them down. But think about what's going through the head of some of these players in those final moments. When you see it tick over to 49-49 and you're in that gunfight, and you swing for that melee, you just hope it registers for you first. Of course, on LAN, it's going to be registering for you both, and it means we get the trade and we get the reset. It was 18 kills for Lucid in the end. Once more, just living up to his name, living up to the MVP status we've seen him claim before. As we look back at some of the replays, what a match on Slayer Recharge. And that was that final moment where I think it was Lqgend who did get the trade in the end with Lucid. Oh, look how different it could have been. Had Lucid have not got that melee, had he had died when he was on no shields from those bullets from behind, it would have been Spacestation 2-0 up in this series. But now as we get to reset, you get to replan, you get to rethink. I speak so much about starting strategies and how difficult and how important they are at the start of the game to try and give you that momentum. We saw Optic off the rip send several players down long haul, really try and gain control of battery side so they could get that shock rifle. If SSG are aware of that now, they can start to maybe set up across, set up some angles to try and stop that push from happening.
That final moment really reminded me of something you'd see in the Royal Rumble where you're waiting to see whose feet touch the floor first. Incredible. And the good news is, folks, we get to do it all again. Game 2, about to get ready. Lucid with the biggest trade possibly in Halo Infinite. If he does not get that trade, if Lqgend gets back down them steps, we've seen SSG had the numbers. But it was that moment there, that one moment. It's margins, that's all that separate these top teams. And we're moving and grooving once more.
Just to clarify, in case you don't know how the rules works, we just play again to 50. It's a complete reset. 2-2 off the rip. It's going to be a different starting strategy from Optic Gaming. Not going to allow that shock rifle to maybe be just gifted over towards SSG this time. And I think it's going to be another similar game where we get a slow, methodical style here, Shurs. 5-3 to begin things, make it 6 as Optic get a nice early break to take a little bit of control.
Both teams continue to jostle for map control. Optic all over on the gold side here. Almost a carbon copy of the collapse we just seen moments ago. Lucid lets go of that plasma pistol shot, probably the worst possible moment. And as a result, Optic Gaming go down by 3. TriPPPeY's able to help answer back with the damage formula just put down. Eco equally answers the call and gets TriPPPeY. They're trading back and forth. These two teams putting it all on the line here on Championship Sunday.
Again, it's bound with the responsibility of the shock rifle, and it was a big shot that he hit in the previous game to even encourage that Space Station push. Had he not hit that shot, again, could have been a very different game, and these are the really small details that can make or break a series. I think we'll look back at that tie at the end of this series and reflect on it a little bit more, because it could be series defining. But Bound's gonna be patient, he's gonna wait. 2 minutes have gone, and it's only 10-9, so our attention once more turns to the camouflage. And he's got the grapple to go alongside it, but actually he's not going to try and play for the grapple. Instead, he's seen teammates go down, so he knew he had to do something special, but was not able to even go for it.
He tried something. Had to settle for the trade. Looks as though Formal's managed to pop that camo into his chest. They trade 2 kills apiece. StelluR closes the distance onto 1. Another trade. 16-16 then.
I mean, both teams might need to look to their controller sponsors after this one, because we might need new buttons after all the melees that are going down. They're so closely contested and they're so aggressive at times. They're always diving in for those trades because they know how important every trade is. You can't allow a player to get away on no shields, because they could come to bite you in the backside a little bit later. As once more, it's 19-19. Now, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but just imagine if it did happen. Have we ever seen back-to-back ties in the HCS history? Not sure, but...
Certainly not Halo Infinite, that much is for sure. This might have been the first tie we've seen. Maybe in the past with H2A, of course, you had that Sanctuary Slayer a couple of times. There were some ties along the way with the old Tox roster. Now, of course, representing FaZe. Eco, though, in tower. Lqgend dies. Optic take the lead. It's back and forth. Lucid with a huge double kill. Deadzone trying to play his life. Unable to do so. Lucid though down the no shield. StelluR again. Showing exactly why they call him SS Jesus.
And you speak about back and forth, it's just constant double kill into double kill. It's one player stepping up on one side, into on the flip side, the next player then stepping up for his team. And we're on board with StelluR at the moment, and he's the one who's been finding back-to-back kills to keep SSG in it. And now they take the lead, 28-25. He finds a little cheeky shock rifle to work with here too, and you know how dangerous that could be. Connects with the second, and it's a killing spree.
Ego, jiggle peeking, has the camouflage, has got to try and stay alive, cannot do so. Deadzone with a huge kill. Perfect trade for him. Formal's gonna fall. StelluR still got that shock rifle, still being an influence, still being a menace.
We've yet to see a team really gain control of Recharge Slayer. We haven't seen a lead by more than, what, 5, 6? As it just keeps staying within 3 or 4. As soon as you think one team's ahead, the other just replies with a moment of brilliance. Is now Bound trying to stay alive and will do so. Good grenades, good communication from Optic Gaming to try and find where Bound is, but he's still... Oh, he eventually falls, but Optic used every grenade they had in their pockets to take him down.
Nothing left in those Optic pockets but IOUs if they try and pull out any more grenades. They have to try and salvage some on the map, one way or another. More trades. It's the story of this Slayer. Like you say, neither team really able to put together any significant control, whether it be with the power weapons, the power-ups. So evenly matched.
My worry for Space Station is you look across to Optic and you look at Formal stats at the moment. Only the 3 kills, but 7 assists. And we know that every single game Formal's in, at some point he heats up. If he does begin to heat up toward the end of this game, he could really take control for the green wall. And SSG need to be aware of that as the push comes through. Great grenades, but 2 kills in favor of SSG as they continue just to stay far enough ahead in this game. But every single time that Optic make that push and they get a couple of kills, SSG reply. 37-36. Camouflage once more is up. And maybe this could be the moment for Formal to start to heat up himself.
Optic down by 1. Formal with the camouflage. Bound charging forward into 2 members. He'll be made to look a little bit silly if he dies here then. Lqgend rotates over towards elevator. 2 members of SSG head towards long hall. Spacestation are split here. They're trying to get to Bound. They're trying to help him out. The smoke screen will go down. Lqgend falls. Formal gets the one he needs. StelluR soars forward on double stack. Also goes down. Bound continues to take damage, as does Eco. Formal is a turret right now.
Such an interesting game to watch because there's so many 2v2 fights happening on the map. But that's why you have Formal on your team and you need him to turn up. He does turn up, and Optic, they regain the lead here. 42-41. And SSG, they're over towards elevator, and Optic can start to surround them, but TriPPPeY falls.
8 kills required for both teams now. And we're heading right down the same road we've already been before. We know where this leads. Back to pipes, back to a trade, and we run it back once more. Or will one of these teams, will an individual on these teams take over in these final moments?
Who knows, maybe it could be history in the arena here in Arlington, Texas for Optic Gaming, but SSG have regained that lead. They're up by 2 once more. Eco surviving in control. An aggressive push though out over at Middle Bridge from Optic Gaming. They really want to get Eco out of control here. Both teams have done that well all series long, finishing off those one-shots, not allowing people to escape. Shock in the hands of Lucid, and Camo's coming up.
Camo pops. Deadzone the first point of contact. You know they want to get it in the hands of Lucid. You know he can be a menace with the shock rifle. Attempts to get a couple of headshots. Deadzone elsewhere gets a double. Eco and Bound answer back immediately. Bound comes in, tries to get the trade. Lucid gets the pick though. We're all tied up, 46 apiece.
I mean, this could happen again. Everyone in the arena could be saying, I was there when it was back-to-back ties between SSG and Optic. But will we see some magic from someone? It's 48-48. Big double, but still tied.
Lucid gets 2. Bound replies with 2. Into the final knockings then. StelluR soars forward to his death. Put to the sword. And Lucid, eyes up long haul, shock rifle in hand, just wants to see the smiling face of an SSG member.
All it takes is one bullet. One moment for Optic Gaming to tie this one up, and SSG know it. They can't poke out, they can't show face. They do have 3 minutes to work with, to plan, to try and coordinate. But you've got to be careful where you step out here. Whatever angle you face, there may be a shock rifle waiting for you.
Shock rifle now out of ammunition. All of SSG have completely rotated. They were cowering on glass, waiting for numbers. They all rotate in through to Whirlpool. Bound on Batledged, trying to get information. Nobody's showing right now.
Can you imagine? 49-48 still. SSG, they need 2. They can't afford to push in and just get the single trade. Big nades coming into control though, as SSG are slowly but surely creeping towards Optic Gaming. Are they going to try and set a trap here and then maybe pounce on Optic when they least expect it?
Optic,
here we go.
Entrenched, but SSG are going to come knocking. And Deadzone gets the kill onto his replacement Lqgend. We're all tied up 1-1.
Massive plasma nade there from Deadzone. He saw just a couple of heads heading over towards top bridge, top cross, and he says actually this plasma could do some real damage. Might have even ended up on 51 kills if it had hit properly. But you mentioned Deadzone, not only did he get that final kill, 20 kills for Deadzone in the end. You spoke about vindication, you spoke about redemption. Well, Deadzone, he is certainly looking to take some revenge on his previous team here and say, well, why did you drop me? Optic Gaming tie us up 1-1. What a series, and What a couple of slayers we just got to witness.
Looking at the stats then, Deadzone making the difference, but that was back-to-back slayers in which we've seen Lqgend register 16 deaths consecutively. That is far too many in a slayer.
It is, but Lqgend is that kind of player. He's always looking to get into those gunfights. He's very quick around the map, and we could be singing his praises had he got a couple of kills towards the end. So it's one of those where it's always going to come down to just minimal differences between these teams. And in the end, it was a sticky grenade to separate the two. Got to respect Spacestation for making that push towards the end across top cross. Had Penguin not seen it, had Deadzone not seen it, formerly, the artist known formerly as Penguin, then it could have been very different, but he just spotted them out. But the shock rifle, very important throughout that game as well, both games, to be honest, and I think we're in for a real barn burner here in this series.
After 2, well, I guess open bracket 3, close bracket, we're tied 1-1. It was Optic Gaming who found the ice. You have to commend Spacestation. They made that full rotation around the map. They tried to be the players being the aggressor. They were forced to be. They were down by 1. They had to do something, but Optic were equal to it.
And we said we may go back and we may look at that trade for the 50-50 for Optic Gaming. That first recharge slayer, it was Spacestation's. They were so close, 1 bullet away from winning it. And with Lucid getting that trade, it allowed them to get the reset and allowed them to get to this moment where they only needed 1 kill, and it was the sticky grenade of Deadzone. And look what it means to the boys as well.
These high pressure moments. After 2 then, 4-3 Aquarius CTF, which by the way, had unofficial overtime. And after 2 slayers on recharge, we finally could separate them. Optic Gaming leveling up the series. Oddball streets now, Dan, on the horizon. We know you love your stats. Statman Dan's what I've been calling you. Give me something.
Optic went undefeated on Oddball Streets throughout qualifiers. It is one of their better modes. We know they love Oddball. Very good at setting up and really destroying, disassembling their opponents when they try and break those setups. On the other side, it is one of SSG's worst game types, I'd say. It's hard to say that about a team like Spacestation because they're good at pretty much everything. But if you had to try and narrow it down, I think Oddball Streets would be one of them. So this is good news for the Green Wall. A great chance to take a 2-1 lead in the series, but at the same time, yes, stats are great. Yes, stats give us an indication of who is kind of better at a certain game type, a certain map or mode. It's about who's really playing well on the day. And there's such little things that are separating these two teams right now.
And let's talk about Spacestation a little bit while both teams catch their breaths. So often they found themselves in the winners final, in the elimination final, and they fell short. And that's got to grind your gears after a while. If you're Eco, if you're StelluR, and indeed Bound, who slightly less experienced, but at the same time finding himself in the exact same position. They've made this change to try and give them that push, give them that oomph, push them over the line, get the grand finals, win the damn chip.
They felt like they needed a change. They felt like they needed to replace Deadzone, and now Deadzone playing with a chip on his shoulder and has been phenomenal this tournament. I really feel like Deadzone joining Optic Gaming has opened up a brand new play style for him. He's almost been able to feed into a different kind of Deadzone that we had seen previously on SSG. His slaying power starting to really shine as he's not being forced into purely an objective play. So he's now suddenly leading in slays at times. He's the guy who's getting into those engagements. He can play the support role as well. He's doing everything for the team. But on the other side, for SSG, their replacement was Lqgend. But of course, we were highlighting StelluR because StelluR is the big game player. He is the one that you would expect to make those big moments for the team, to get those big double kills and put them on the board to keep you ahead.
It's so interesting that you even mentioned Deadzone and how he's almost reinvented himself on this Optic Gaming team. The reason why he made the name change, he said he wanted to do away with the bad habits, look after himself, get to the gym, really start to look after himself, and now even his gameplay is starting to show it.
His gameplay has certainly been even more impressive at this tournament, and that's hard to do because it's not like he was playing bad on SSG, but we'll have to see whether the change was a good one or not because we still haven't settled it. It's only 1-1. We're into map 3. It's Oddball Streets, somewhere that Optic Gaming can call home at times because they're so good at setting up.
This one's not done just yet. It's got plenty more to give. Eco goes down. Lqgend falls down to B steps. TriPPPeY just about escapes with his life. Lucid in the L, takes the challenge bottom middle. Good for a trade, he got his pick. TriPPPeY's got ball, and he's moving it towards C.
TriPPPeY knows he had a chance just to toss that ball, but has to start to reconsider and think about that camouflage. The shroud goes down. Bound doesn't want to get him, let him get away here, but TriPPPeY will escape, and not only with the camouflage, but with the bulldog too. Just have to kind of avoid the bombardment of grenades. If a grenade does tickle you and you lose that camo, it's so frustrating.
TriPPPeY could have a massive impact on this game in the early knock-ins, but as I say that, obviously he gets shut down. That one's on me. The curse of the commentator rings through. Lqgend goes. TriPPPeY and Lucid also in the respawn screen. SSG have numbers. StelluR has the ball. He's got it all the way over towards tower. Formal looks to close the distance. Ball gets played towards the statue. Lqgend and StelluR try to combine, providing cover fire off the backs of one another. Bound gets a huge double kill. Formal's all alone now, isolated, needs help. But it's not going to come quick enough as he falls.
He did get an assist though. He did do enough damage to allow the rest of his team to spawn, make a difference, and stop Spacestation from getting too much of a setup here. It's a little bit of time, 14 seconds. Nothing to kind of write home about, but it's a start here for SSG. Is now Lucid trying to find the kill onto Eco and will do so.
Lucid with the repulsor, slides down driveway, but straight into SSG territory. And he was not provided the welcome he would have wanted. He wasn't even turned away at the door. Formal, jiggle peeks, gets the kill onto StelluR. Eco equalizes it once more. You spoke about it, Dan. These teams so good at capitalizing on damage done, ensuring no kill gets away.
It's very rare you actually get to see all 4 dead in any of these games. It's only happened a few times. 3 are down at the moment for Optic Gaming. They do take down Formal, the last remaining, so there was a small time where all 4 members of Optic were down. Deadzone's first up, and SSG are now scoring. Bound notices they have tram control. He can't quite stay alive, but he will be able to toss that ball to Lqgend, but this is not going to be a setup that will last for very long, because it's a 4 versus 2.
Another scene from Oppenheimer. We see it time and time again as Deadzone brings the boom, brings the pain, gets the ball. 23 seconds is all SSG could muster before the setup was ultimately broken.
That's why Optic Gaming are so good at ball, is they will not allow the opposition to get a proper setup. You won't see other teams getting 40, 50 seconds against Optic, but Optic can be that team who will suddenly turn a setup into like 40 or 50 seconds if they get into the right spot. But SSG also known for breaking setups as well, and that's why we're going to have a very back and forth matchup here on Oddball Streets as Lucid gets the double.
Lucid starting to turn the screw now. That stock rifle having a massive impact in these engagements. He's also got a bulldog to play with if anybody gets a little bit too close. He let his dog off the leash. It's got a nasty bite. One bite of a bulldog and an arm. Enough to get the job done onto Lqgend. The Frenchman falls, has to watch his teammates now. Deadzone with ball in PD. Bound over towards the arcade. StelluR gets a trade. Gets a pick, excuse me. They have numbers now.
Oh, wow.
And just like that, Optic take the lead in the game. Deadzone's got the ball once more.
Pull him off as a Deadzone. PD at the moment, holding on to the ball and taking down anyone who might arrive to check in. 40 seconds on the board. What did I say? Optic, they can have those runs, but SSG eventually will shut it down here. Bound will make sure that Formal falls too. And they regain control of said ball. Camouflage is going to be up. So with those kills, SSG should be able to get camo. Depends on the positioning of the Optic spawners. It looks like they spawned down bottom trap, so they are able to keep Spacestation off of camouflage for now.
Bound tried to take space, perhaps tried to take too much space, overly aggressive on the fresh spawners. He ultimately paid for it, he went down. Camouflage still down on the podium, no team really able to get their hands on it just yet. Lucid's gonna be the first one to go.
Didn't grab it, didn't pop it.
Eco's got it, 3 dead for Optic. Formal's gonna try and stop this camouflage making the play. It's gonna be a trade, it's down on generator. You can see him relaying the information. They know exactly where it is. Problem is, Optic do too.
Yeah, still not popped. As both teams know how important that kill could be, as Lucid does eventually pop it, lock it, drop it. All the body pops coming out from him. Now we're going to see whether he can get some body shots, but the grenade will just stop him from pushing and pressing at his advantage.
Lqgend predicts exactly where the camouflage player is going to go. Throws down a couple of denial grenades.
Ball drop.
Ensures he has to reroute those Lucid. He's made his way towards top tower now. Looking for players in PD. StelluR pops out, receives quite a lot of damage. StelluR does receive a little bit himself. Numbers advantage now, first pick. They've got ball, and they've cleared out the riffraff from PD.
I will say that was an important touch from Deadzone onto the ball. We were in a period of play where the ball could have reset had that not happened, and it was an important time to do so because they get 3 dead and they regain control of PD. They begin to score once more, but because that first camo took so long to get popped, we get another one now so soon after as TriPPPeY follows up with a kill of his own.
What can the Frenchman do then with this camouflage? 60 seconds to 53. A minute on the clock now. We are dwindling down. We're into the 4th quarter of round 1. Lqgend standing still. Lqgend eats 2 grenades, gets 1, but not the value he would have wanted. 2 go down for SSG, 2 for Optic. This one still remains on a knife edge.
God, it really shows how close these two teams are, right? We had the tie in the Slayer, 50-48 in the next one. And it's so difficult even to separate the two here in the ball game. Only 7 seconds between Optic and Spacestation right now. 30 seconds left on the clock. So Optic, if they want to, can just play Slayer a little bit. They can force SSG off this ball, but if they make one single mistake, it could cost them the round.
SSG find themselves in a similar situation as they did in the Slayer. They're the ones that have to make the play. They're the ones that have to make the move.
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Optic have got this ball right where they want it. It's in no man's land. They got the touch to stop the reset. We're down to the final 2 seconds. They're trying to make the play, and it's not going to come quick enough. Optic Gaming take round 1.
What a great round it was from Optic. They were down to begin with. Spacestation got that initial 20+ seconds, but Optic had that one strong setup where they got 40-ish points. Ever since they had that lead, they were able to just control the game a little bit. It was a PD setup they tended to lean towards, and we'll have to see whether they try and do the same thing here as Lucid cleverly getting rid of some of the Bulldog ammo there as he knew he was going to go down.
Enemy has the ball.
Helmet stock rifle goes for the insta-explode. For a moment I thought he thought it was a frag grenade. And of course I'm the idiot, he's the pro. There's a reason for that. Double kill for Bound. Stock rifle remains in his hand. Camouflage falls on the benches and he descends upon it, doing damage all the meanwhile as he slides across the map. Gets touch tight with a palm tree, but Formal gets a huge kill.
Yeah, that could be a massive kill for Formal there to shut down the Stalker rifle, which was doing way too much damage to Optic Gaming. And all the meanwhile, StelluR was picking up ball time. It's similar to round 1 though. Spacestation find themselves with a 29-point lead here. This time, can they actually use this lead and press on and get a significant advantage just to keep the green wall away? But Lucid keeps getting this camouflage. He's a slippery one when he does get hold of it as well, but they spot him out. He's not able to get the kills.
StelluR falls, 2 down for Optic, make it 3.
Reset.
Formal's over towards Cafe, they have that information. Ball does reset though. Eco doesn't know exactly where Formal was, so he started to fire shots through the screen, hoping he'd connect with something. In the end, it wasn't required. The damage had already been done. StelluR gets yet another opener, and this is a chance for them to impose their will onto Optic. TriPPPeY drops the shoulder, gets a kill. It's another trade though, and this is perfect for SSG as they whisk the ball away.
Ball dropped.
Every player on the map struggling to survive at the moment. As soon as you are down to half shields, you know full well you're being called out. You know full well a grenade is probably going to be landing at your feet shortly. So you have to try and go out with a bang, whether that's just a couple of bullets into someone else, a grenade at your own feet, or just wasting bullets like we saw Lucid do earlier. But it's Formal who grabs the camouflage now. And a chance to try and make a difference.
Enemy has the
Formal in phantom mode. A trade though is all he has to settle for.
enemy has the ball.
You could wish he has that play back, but unfortunately for him,
Enemy has the
that was what happened, that's what transpired. But as he got that kill, Optic were able to get their hands on the ball. They are now able to score.
Just having the camouflage was presence there for Optic Gaming. It allowed TriPPPeY to say, well, Actually, Spacestation are waiting for the camo push. We can sneak this ball away and get some cheeky time on the board, and it's racked up to 16 seconds. That's not bad, just off the back of one camo. They have lost a couple of players, and now SSG suddenly gain tram control.
Ball dropped.
Ego waits on benches. Sits in the bus stop.
Enemy has the
Gets
ball.
Lucid. Again, his teammates continue to do damage, keeping him alive. StelluR and Lqgend combined to wipe half the Optic roster off the map and out of the equation.
Victory.
They're gonna push back commando and driveway. Lucid with a beautiful grenade, spins up. And plasma grenade from TriPPPeY, sticks to Bound, and latches onto Eco as well and takes two of them for a ride.
Has the ball.
I will say, Spacestation are playing with so much more structure than they did in the qualifiers on this mapping mode in particular. There was a few times when they were playing in qualifiers that they would send one player out to kind of scout things, try and find those kills. They'd die and then they'd be in a 3 versus 4. That's not really happening as much. I think they know that Optic Gaming are a team you have to go toe-to-toe with 4 versus 4. You can't be facing them. That player down as Lucid gets another one. And Optic, they had temporary control, but Spacestation once more demonstrate how good they are at breaking their setups as Lqgend comes from behind.
It's the first camouflage that SSG got their hands on in quite some time, and it was insta-burned. Optic navigating this one perfectly. StelluR. Back tower, Eco there too. Deadzone fires a couple of shots through the eye of a needle. Optic recognizing SSG did still have that numbers advantage until this very moment. But now they push forward, now they take map. And they go looking for that ball and they get it.
Sounded a little bit like a caveman. Me take ball, me take map,
me get ball,
me succeed,
me do kill.
Sometimes you just need those kind of players though. You need those players who can just push forward and get those kills for you. And Bound does just that, gets 2, but StelluR responds with some of his own. As Optic find 3 of themselves on the floor, and Lucid could be the next. There's a nice spawn though over towards Red Room that will allow Optic to just keep pushing in and stop SSG from getting too much ball time.
Eco expertly uses that shroud screen once more to get away, take minimal damage. He's gotten it right the way back to his teammates, but Formal's on the hunt with the stalker rifle now. 2 shots and a beatdown, good for 1. Eco though will stand them up, get the kill. Another one, double kill. As Eco sends 2 men to the boatman. They have to watch their teammates, TriPPPeY and Formal, have some sort of influence, but Eco's quite happy to hold this ball, and they hold a significant lead.
Not only is Eco getting ball time, but he has 26 kills on the board as well. 10 seconds away from taking round 2 here at Spacestation Gaming. Maybe one last push from Optic. You can see Lucid's trying to make his way around, but that's not going to work out. SSG hold on, and SSG will tie up map number 3.
The hold was good. We get to go again. Nothing to separate them after 2. Much like the series. We continue on. Eco heads up B steps.
Enemy has the ball.
Tries to get as much information as he possibly can, clearing his angles, clearing his corners. Knows how sneaky Optic can play. Lqgend gets a massive double kill. TriPPPeY answers back though with the Bulldog. And he fights from the back foot. TriPPPeY's in big trouble. Lucid's coming to provide some support. It didn't come quick enough to survive and to keep his teammate alive. Deadzone sitting on top tram, gets the kill he needs. Camouflage is now up. Lucid's in the respawn screen. This should mean SSG can get their hands on it.
One of them's got it. They didn't really know who, but Lqgend just sneaks round. And he should get a chance to reset and try and do something with the camouflage. Did notice off the rip, Optic really trying to prioritize pink side. Wanted to get hold of the Bulldog nice and early. I wonder where that Bulldog has ended up, because it could be a difference maker, but now SSG going to begin to push with the camo. It's a trade 1-for-1, so many trades again. Camouflage and the Stalker Rifle in the hands of Spacestation, and they get all 4 dead on the side of Optic Gaming, but the ball is still a little bit in no man's land. It's not going to be easy to score here. Gets reset even, so for all the hard work, for all the pushes they actually went through, they have to go through it all again.
Decent work from TriPPPeY as well. First player off the respawn immediately set his eyes on the ball, trying to do his maximum damage, trying to make it a tough task. Because of that, StelluR couldn't go straight for it. Because of that, the ball gets reset. TriPPPeY gets a double kill. And now Optic Gaming, after going 4 dead, they have the ball, and SSG are down 3 men.
TriPPPeY made himself big, didn't he? He said, actually, I'm prepared to throw down. I'm prepared to take any of you in a gunfight. I don't care where the ball is. I'm not going to allow you to grab it. And off the back of it now, Optic begin to score. 2 are dead on the side of Spacestation, so Optic do have the extra player, and they are moving with the ball at the moment. It's not a solid setup, it's not particularly structured, but it is a loose setup that can work, but Lqgend beginning to do some real damage here. Could make it 3 back-to-back kills alongside this camouflage, not allowing Optic to get set up.
Still a little bit of camo to play with. Lqgend currently sitting at 27, 15, and 23. He's been amongst it.
Enemy has the ball.
Formal recognizing exactly where that camouflage player is likely to be. Lqgend steps forward though, still gets the kill. Formal wasn't there to do the damage that was required. Backs away into red room, and all it is red room. Formal falls. And all the meanwhile, Spacestation have got hands on ball, and they've now taken the lead.
It was something that you had brought up earlier. Lqgend is always doing something productive on the map, whether it's repositioning, whether it's damage, whether it's trying to prioritize a weapon that's spawning as he gets a killing spree now, picks up some grenades, 3 are dead for Optic Gaming, and SSG will have a chance to get some real ball time here. And they'll get closer and closer to not only taking this round, but potentially taking this back.
Bound's pretty safe with the ball right now as it stands. Lucid's gonna make that a little bit more difficult though. Bound will fall in the hands of TriPPPeY's grenade. Perfect shots from Lqgend though, as he continues to try and create space for his team. Cause chaos once more. Lines up Deadzone in his crosshair. Opts instead to move away though. Goes to the bait and switch with his teammate. But Optic Gaming now surge forward. They're the ones getting the kills. They're the ones around the ball now. Bound with that commando.
Oh, 4 dead.
Will ensure 4 go down for Optic.
Enemy has the ball.
Optic committed heavily to that push, and it was looking good, looking like they had the pinch, but it's the damage output from SSG. They make it so difficult for any push to actually happen, but camo is grabbed, I think, by Optic Gaming. Not sure if anyone was able to actually punch it into their chest, though, as 3 are dead. It could be 4 dead again here if StelluR wins this one, but Formal had to win that engagement, and he did so.
Enemy has the ball.
So impressive from Formal. We know how difficult it is to fight a player on the pillar using that jiggle peek. But he stood up strong, he stood up brave, and he got the kills. Lucid now with the camouflage, and he's closing in on Eco with the ball.
Bound replies with a kill of his own though, and Lqgend gets it onto Lucid. The back and forth's insane, like a pendulum at the moment, swinging through this game. So hard to call, but SSG still have that lead, and the clock is beginning to tick down. 2 minutes and 8 seconds left. In a game that I just never really want to end, in a series I don't want to end. I could watch these guys go toe-to-toe all day long, but it is SSG scoring once more.
Lucid jiggle peeking. Bound not shy from the fight. Formal was there though. That means SSG's hold is going to look a little shaky then. Eco recognizes this, tries to rotate the ball, tries to get it out of trouble and out of danger, but TriPPPeY picks up a huge double kill. Does that mean that Optic Gaming now have the chance to tie us up if their setup and their hold can be good?
Yeah, can they get an actual hold here? It starts off with a kill to Lqgend. Formal has to make sure that there's no PD players, and I think he's got that information. They're all going to be over towards L. 2 kills in favor, make it 3 in favor of Optic Gaming. Good ball time now coming out of it. But Formal has to worry about Bound first and foremost, but Bound's done so much work. Yes, there's a lot of ball time being gained by Optic, but they've lost enough players that now SSG can begin their charge.
It was an unofficial 4 dead for Optic.
Enemy has the ball.
But they still have their hands on the ball. Deadzone though. Bound takes care of 1.
Ball dropped.
Formal's gonna jump up. Did Formal get the camo? The answer is yes. Formal can have a massive influence, but he gets shut down. And 4 went down for Optic. And now all of a sudden SSG are in the driving seat.
SSG have PD. SSG just got the opener onto Lucid as well, so now Optic, they're on split spawns. They've got one last push to try and stay alive here. It has to be now.
Has to be here, has to be now. There is no more time. Deadzone goes, he gets cut away. Bound continues to hold, and SSG take game 3.
That is a massive game for Spacestation to win. When you look at that series layout, this was the one that was leaning a little bit more heavily towards Optic. It was one of their better maps and modes. And SSG put themselves firmly in that driving seat that you were talking of. 2-1 up in the series in what was, again, another very back and forth map. But ultimately, it was SSG, their ability to break the setup of Optic time and time again. For all my talk about how Optic can set up, how strong they can be once they are set up, SSG negated it completely with their ability to get behind enemy lines and wipe that wall down.
You spoke about how good Optic are at breaking setups, and equally how good they are at holding the ball and holding their setups. They had exactly what they needed in that endgame. But SSG came, and they took over.
It was Bound as well, over towards the pink side, able to get a big kill, then stay alive, regain his shields, and then re-challenge. And sadly, Formal knew he had to take that fight, but the spawns had already happened at that point. And Spacestation wrestled back that control and got the ball into PD, and from then, it was always going to be their game. So now they find themselves 2-1 up. Now they find themselves one map away from the grand final.
This is what Lqgend was recruited for. We speak about it being the difference maker. It's one thing to say it. It's another thing entirely to do it. You have that expectation on you. So much weight on the shoulders of this young man. To come into this team, to drive them to be champions. They were only managed it once last year, and some people will say it didn't even happen at a major. But to do it in Optic Gaming's backyard, that would be massive for them. They're still one away from the grand finals, and they'll have to do it all over again. But to have that advantage in the grand finals, to be able to have that reset possibility, that's going to be huge for them.
Even more huge when you look at the rest of the series layout, and it's 2 maps and modes that Spacestation didn't lose throughout the entirety of the qualifiers coming into this tournament. Arguably 2 of their stronger game types, and sadly, Stronghold's Livefire, one of Optic's weaker game types. It, in fact, was one of the only map modes they lost so far this tournament. They lost it to Complexity when we saw them competing yesterday. So if Spacestation can kind of take anything away from that, if they have been doing their research, if they have been studying their VODs, maybe there is an opportunity for an SSG 3-1 victory here. But on the same side, Optic would have been looking at that saying, okay, why did we lose here? Why was Stronghold's Livefire difficult for us? And if they've equally been doing the same kind of studying, then maybe they can find a pattern that they can just tear apart, rebuild, regain, and try and take us to 2-2.
Can Optic Gaming alter their recipe on Livefire Strongholds, which once upon a time, you would have called Livefire their haven, no matter what it was, their sanctuary.
That's 2 maps you actually named, which is quite funny. That's why I got a little bit confused there.
See that? I done a thing there.
It certainly was the home of Optic Gaming, was Livefire, but it's been trending downwards ever since they've kind of made changes into the roster. The playstyle's changed a little bit. They've got better at different maps, but they need to try and find some of that same energy that we once saw Optic have on Livefire if they're going to get back into this series. Otherwise, we're going to see them have to battle through that elimination bracket where FaZe Clan are waiting, and you know full well they are out for revenge.
Optic Gaming are going to have to correct the errors of yesterday. Was it a blip in form? Or is there something a little bit more sinister there? Can they have made the changes necessary in just one day? Playing against a higher caliber team here in Spacestation Gaming, they're going to have to. Or they're one game away, one loss away from the elimination final and dropping down to their rivals in FaZe. SSG will desperately want to do it here and now.
Sniper Rifle is going to be the big difference maker in this game. I've seen Formal destroy entire teams when he gets hold of it, so SSG needs to be aware of that. On the flip side though, StelluR can do exactly the same thing. Camouflage for Bound will allow them just to sneak A. Now, one thing that Spacestation are very good at when it comes to Strongholds is their constant manipulation of the map. Their constant rotations, keeping the other team thinking on their feet a little bit. And remember, they have Lqgend on their side, who was once a part of that Quadrant team who went unbeaten for so long in Stronghold game types, and Lqgend can bring all of that information to this SSG roster.
Bound's camo finally dissipates. Lucid gets 3 shots. Deadzone shields are popped. Bound to close the distance now. He's done enough damage as far as he's concerned to get some kills here. And he was right, Deadzone falls. He immediately tries to capture B while his teammates get C. But something SSG here have done here, Dan, is silence that home crowd.
And it's difficult to do. The green wall loud and proud at the very best of times, but Space Station know that they are so close to that grand final, but Deadzone maybe gives them something to cheer about once more. Optic had a temporary triple cap, and that, if you are going to shut down Space Station here, you do have to start looking for it. You do have to try and put them on those awkward spawns, try and put them in those situations where maybe they are split 2 and 2. Otherwise, the way SSG move around the map, they will punish you every single time if you try and just hold 2 every single time.
B not quite fully converted just yet. StelluR recognized that. He tried to get across, tried to cover the distance. Eco's gonna do the same thing, but he's gonna also fall down. Deadzone's quite happy just to bait this hill. TriPPPeY's there as well, guns trained on the Frenchman that falls. They get the reset and they continue to score.
Yeah, Optic look a lot better than they did previously here. Working as duos quite often. Just staying close enough to finish off any damage that has been done, and it's an easy camo grab, surprisingly, for Deadzone here. I think SSG were kind of focusing on those strongholds, so Optic said, well, we're happy to sacrifice them for now. Now you have to put this camo to work to make sure it was worth it.
4 dead for SSG. Eco found himself in a mirrored situation, trying to get the B, trying to get the conversion. But now A, B, and C firmly in the green wall's control.
Looks like the camo was worth it then. It was a risky play at times to just give up a couple of strongholds, but the power of the camouflage here on Livefire, we know the difference it can make. As Optic, they can now surround Space Station. We're going to be over towards A, but TriPPPeY doesn't get overzealous. Not going to overcommit. That's what Space Station probably want. Instead, he reads the push. He reads the flank, but doesn't get the kill. Lqgend with a super lunge.
Lqgend somehow, some way, lunging across the continent to get that kill.
Enemy halfway.
It looked easy peasy. Lqgend made it anything but. Still using that repulsor. Still picking up kills.
But that's good from Optic. They forced Space Station to double back towards A just to make sure they held onto one stronghold. And all the meanwhile, they got a couple of kills, so Space Station weren't able to get any points on the board. Yes, they're getting kills now, but look at the score, 147 to 14. There is a lot of work to do now for Space Station. A killing spree, though, for Lqgend is a great way to kick it off.
Score.
Lqgend throws down everything in his pockets to try and stop the big door push. Nothing was coming. They also have a quantum translocator available to use that will pull the player right back to B. Formal taking a lot of damage, down to no shields in fact. Lucid though will get Eco. That's the pick they need. SSG slowly climbing in points, slowly closing that gap. That triple cap, it was locked in tight, it was locked in hard, and they got a lot of points that SSG now have to battle back for.
SSG did not tap out though when the submission was locked in. As Lqgend notices that the push is happening over towards B, so he's going to be making the rotation as his teammates have fallen. But what a break that was from Optic, and they get the trade. It's a triple cap again for Optic Gaming. They look like a different side here on Strongholds on Livefire, and that is massive news for them.
Deadzone gets a massive trade, goes back, recognizing exactly where Lqgend's going to show up. Gets that trade, keeps A in Optic Gaming's possession. 2 dead. It's going to be StelluR and Lqgend watching Bound with the camouflage as he doubles back towards A. Optic Gaming now very close to that 200-point threshold. Strongholds are never done, but they are firmly in that driving seat that we continue to talk about.
Yeah, at the moment, we've not really seen enough from SSG to believe that a comeback is possible with how Optic have been playing it. Yeah, they've been able to get a couple of camos. They have been able to get a few killing sprees here or there. But it's been the ultimate breaks from Optic Gaming. Every single time SSG gets set up, Optic are throwing bodies towards those strongholds. Formal does get shut down though. This would be a best chance as any for Space Station to get back into it, but Optic always getting those big kills just to stay just enough ahead.
Deadzone inside C. 1v1 with Lqgend. You couldn't write it any better. SSG step back inside to reconvert it back to the color blue. They will score again. There's a huge deficit to try and eat away at here. And like you say, SSG up until this point haven't really shown enough. Haven't shown the kind of control that they usually exempt. Double kill from Lqgend might change that here as Formal spawns back tower. Lqgend closes the distance immediately. Gets more than a trade. It's a single solo kill. StelluR also elsewhere gets a kill. Now they can start to believe.
He did try and press for that trip cap, but shutting down StelluR was very important by Optic Gaming. You don't want to get locked into that position where you're on spawn and you're just getting pinched from both sides. Sniper rifle out of bullets though, that's a shame because it was Optic's chance just to shut the control of Spacestation down. 2 dead on either side. If StelluR can get a kill here, it would be massive. He does damage but will fall. And Optic might be able to regain B here.
Optic do claim B once more. What do SSG have? That 200-point threshold has now been passed. 3 members of Optic Gaming back tower. Lqgend's there. Lqgend closed the distance. Lqgend gets a triple kill.
But all the meanwhile, he gets a triple kill. There's only 1 player left on the side of Spacestation, and it's StelluR. Yeah, you get the camouflage, but Optic, they have a triple cap. They have to try and wrestle back A to Spacestation, but now Optic are closing in, making map 4 their own, taking us to a game 5. It's going to be one last push for Spacestation Gaming.
One last hurrah. StelluR's been given up though. His position spotted out. Formal gets the kill. And he moves in on A. Lqgend's all alone. Has to give it up. They capture C. But they lose A in the process. Formal goes back to big door. Bound's going to receive some damage. Formal's there. Down to no shield. Bound continues to try and stay alive. Just about maneuvers his hitbox out of the way of Formal's attention. Formal falls, as do 3 for Optic.
This is the last stand then for SSG as StelluR again gets aggressive towards A. He did the same last time and he fell. This time he's got help from Bound. And they will now lock in the trip cap of their own. We've seen comebacks happen. Optic, they know it can happen as well. They can't allow Spacestation to gain too much control. They need to just reset a little bit, breathe, and make sure they're working together. You don't want to make too many individual plays, and trying to take strongholds on your own can often find you in a situation like this where the trip cap continues to breathe here for SSG.
Lucid spawns towards dummies. The rest of his teammates are now making moves on A. Eco's forced to make a decision. Where does he go? The call came to come pillars. He provided cover. It wasn't needed in the end. It looks like Lucid will get control of C. Deadzone sitting top middle. As he drops down the chimney and heads back towards the safety of his teammates. Unfortunately, Bound cuts him off. That triple cap has been costly. It has done the damage. But Optic still hold the lead, and Spacestation still have a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do, but SSG are taking the game to Optic here. They're not just kind of sitting with 2 strongholds and waiting and hoping that they can stop Optic's pushes. When they get that 1 kill, they are starting to flood. They are starting to try and find those extra kills, as now SSG close in on 200 points, as this begins to get a little bit scary for Optic Gaming. Not only that, but the camouflage is also spawning to throw an extra spanner in the works.
It's getting scary, the crowd getting leery as they start the Let's Go Optic chants. We've seen it before, will we see it again? Formal gets one on the Bound. 2 players of Optic down to no shields now, thanks to Eco, but Lucid's behind. Lucid gets the backstab, and now we can look towards the camouflage.
Well, they did get B, but A was then flipped. Spacestation is still scoring. Now the fight turns towards C. Lucid, if he can hit a body shot, would be massive. C currently being taken by Optic Gaming. This is a big fight, and it's won by Deadzone against Lqgend. Optic regain control, but SSG are still fighting with every ounce that they can.
TriPPPeY gets a massive double kill. Optic continue to score. Formal calls out the players that he possibly can, but it's going this way and that, and Optic Gaming continue to hold the setup. We've got members inside B. TriPPPeY has got to play this one perfectly, and does. Optic Gaming pushes to a game 5.
In a series that has had absolutely everything, whether it be a Slayer going 50-50 or a team winning one of their worst games, it's been back and forth between 2 giants of the HCS. and we still have no idea who is going to be winning this winners final. And the only way we can settle it is another Slayer between the two. And what a game 4 it was. I mean, it looked like it was firmly in the control of Optic Gaming throughout the majority, but Spacestation demonstrate why it's one of their better maps as they finally get into a rhythm. But that rhythm, it just arrived a little bit too late.
It's telling. The points that they lost trying to find that rhythm really came back to bite them in the backside. They didn't really start to piece it together until the latter stages of that game. And Optic had made SSG work so hard for it. I mean, the game was only separated by 4 kills when it was all said and done. Optic outslaying by 4 kills. That was the difference. You always speak about when you get those kills, how you get those kills. None may have been bigger in that game than Deadzone holding that C.
And again, it just shows how great Optic are at adapting to the playstyles of their opponents, recognizing a game type. The only game type they lost through Friday, Saturday was Strongholds on Livefire. And they study, they make sure they practice, and they put it into effect against a team who hadn't lost it prior coming into this tournament. This series really has had everything, but we go into game 5. Slayer Solitude. Of all Slayers for us to get here, it always seems to be Solitude to try and split the two. And we know that Solitude can be a very snowbally game type, so the starting strategy is going to be very important here.
And you gave us a little sneak peek at the start. You said game 3, favorite Optic Gaming. SSG flipped the script. But then Optic Gaming do the exact same thing in game 4, and they push us now to this decider, to a shootout. It could not be any more tense. This moment could not be any bigger.
I think it shows just how close these two teams are, how competitive it is between the two. And what it guarantees is that whoever goes through to this grand final, if they were to meet each other again, you know full well it's going to go right down to the wire once more. But you've also got FaZe Clan waiting in that elimination bracket, who can also go toe-to-toe with both of these teams. As Optic, they're back on the stage after making sure they send us to a game 5 here. And I can't wait to get this one going. I do think it's going to be a slow-paced affair, similarly to what we saw in Recharge. We're going to have to see where that shock rifle ends up, because we've already seen the difference it could make previously.
FaZe will be licking their lips in the elimination final. Like vultures, just waiting for someone to drop down so they can pick away at the carcass. Both these teams have given so much. We've already played 5 games. We've already played 2 Slayers in this series. It's going to take at least a third. But with the way it's gone down, we may even get another reset. It's very telling, the difference between these two teams. Optic Gaming deciding to stand up, move elsewhere, have a little chat amongst themselves. Spacestation Gaming did not move.
Well, I remember a time when it was all about Lucid and his kills and how he was the guy who had to make the difference. Well, he's been the objective guy for a lot of this tournament. And on the flip side, Deadzone has been the one who has stepped up when it comes to his KD, but both of them with an incredible damage output. But as you go into a game 5, you know full well it just comes down to who is actually hitting their shots, who is playing well on the day. And Optic still come into this undefeated when it comes to Slayers after making sure they take that game 2 earlier today. And for Spacestation, they have to look across, they have to look at that game 2 and how close they were to making sure that they shut Optic's streak down. Well, they have to dig even deeper than they did in map number 2.
And as we glossed over the series layout at the very beginning, you mentioned how in game 4 and game 5, it would benefit and it would slightly favor SSG. Game 4 didn't go according to plan. Optic ripped up the script, but tell me why game 5 favors SSG here.
It is their best Slayer. They are incredible at Solitude. I think their record is 7-0 at the moment from qualifiers into this tournament, so Optic need to recognize that it is one of their better game types, but the fact that Optic have not lost a Slayer at this tournament also gives them the edge, and it's so difficult to try and predict the two here. Optic Gaming versus Spacestation Gaming, Game 5 live from HCS Arlington. It's Optic's hometown, but can they get the victory? You know what? I'm gonna say it. Shields up, weapons hot, and we are underway.
That was probably your best one yet.
Thank you. Been working on it in the off-season.
Nothing to separate them after 5. You heard me, yes, 5. This Slayer rocking and rolling already. TriPPPeY with camouflage, kills going in their favor. They're ahead by 2. There's some margin for error there now. Legends in the hotel, Eco's on garbage truck. And TriPPPeY could be about to take him out.
Oh. Team Nade almost gives him up, but he's still able to get the kill. I said how the starting strategy is going to be very important. It's Optic off the break, who seem to be firmly ahead, but great kills from Spacestation to shut down those players who are marauding around bottom middle. Where does that shock rifle end up? If either of these teams can get into a commanding position with a shock rifle, the other team is definitely going to be fearing it.
Legend retreats. Optic in hot pursuit. Bound gets one, Formal another. They answer back again. Legend has to trade. He has to settle for it. It's a 1v1 with Deadzone and his longtime former teammate StelluR. Lucid gets the kill. How important could that one be? They have a 4-kill advantage. Let's listen to what their comms are like. We'll listen in.
Joey, one shot, 2 there.
Glass, guys. I'm holding
They're
glass.
both weak, Joey. They're both
I
one.
got double needed. I got double needed.
Yeah, I'm getting out there.
I hear thoughts.
Running flowers, running. They saw
Yo, guys, I'm hiding.
Flowers,
Flowers
flowers.
in blue. Toss me.
We look like flowers.
2 in blue, guys.
No,
Okay.
look at where I'm at too. Look where I'm at too.
I see that time.
They might be walking bottom mid.
Valkyrie weak.
Did you challenge me to those, Joey?
No, we're good. We're good.
Joey, watch. I need
we
to
push
get
flowers?
Yo, somebody pick up my
We push
LR.
flowers, camo for camo.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes.
I'm looking over you guys. I'm looking over you guys. We're through here. Careful.
Look at back, right?
S4. S4.
Bring up.
Yo, and top mid, top dip.
2 shot in blue, 2 there. 2 guys
Top
blue.
dip. On camo, 3 shots. Camo. Bottom mid.
Flowers.
Still top mid, guys.
Photo, one
Top
shot.
mid. We're good.
Live.
Yo, we should push LR.
I'm looking for Galen.
Yeah.
Cable's sitting dip. No, we should not push.
Okay, yeah.
Let's hold.
S4.
One guy S4 also. Yeah,
Alone in yard,
He
guys.
was gonna try to go top gold.
Alone in yard.
Yeah, he's gonna try to
It's S4. Look S4. Look top yellow for Zan. Watch flower down here.
Yeah. Yo, Matt, back up a little bit.
Top gold.
Top gold.
Pull down one.
Here.
One shot market in the corner.
Above me.
There's also one driveway.
Market.
I can push by the
Cable's
Jumping back up top gold right now.
Yo, driveway with camo. I just saw him.
It's on me.
Camo's dead.
Plus
One
some max
shot
on
on
me.
me.
Plus some max on me.
Nade yellow.
Driveway and loop. They're going glass right now, and one guy's sitting on the
Didn't go glass.
driveway.
Top gold.
Get ready to go, John.
One guy's going out bottom mid. Eco's going out bottom mid.
Hear that? I don't
Top
see
gold
it.
as well.
He was driveway.
Soda weak.
Top gold, thanks.
Do we need help Zane, guys?
I'm gonna enjoy you. I'm gonna go back to
Guy
I'm
alert.
Shock is up.
gonna go back to Zane right now. One's driveway legend.
Yeah, one guy in yard. Under top gold, one shot.
Trying to need the
U-turn weak. Go 2 shot U-turn.
Top mid.
2 shot U-turn. I'm about to lift up Zan.
silo guys.
LR weak. And I think top mid. Could be S4.
You're pushing my flower.
Looking flowers.
He has throws on me. He has throws here.
Silo with ledge. Silo with mid ledge. Soda weak.
You guys here? Flower.
Top gold weak.
Soda weak.
I got one.
Soda weak sellers. LR.
I got two.
Nice, Tommy.
Top mid eco. One's
And LR weak.
Silo by himself.
Kill this silo, guys. Kill
LR
silo.
hall. One shot.
Yo, wait, they're gonna spawn, guys. They're gonna spawn. Back up, Joey. Back
U-turn
up.
absolute. And Soda on me.
Top gold weak.
On me, guys. U-turn.
Top gold.
You want yard?
Prius 2 shot. Market weak. Absolute market.
One bullet under top gold.
We got hotel weak.
Hotel.
One's up high.
Hey, chill for a second.
I died.
There was a guy top gold, Joey.
There's snipe.
Hitting top gold. I'm weak. Yep.
One guy sniped posters. One guy posters.
Yes, sniper.
Look
Come
good.
on.
Last season, Optic Gaming were toppled out. The top 6 placement, one of their worst they had the entire season. All that stands between them and the grand finals now are these pesky spacemen. But they're not going anywhere. Bound's got the shot, Bound's got the camouflage, excuse me, and he's looking to collapse on the shock rifle.
Yeah, Spacestation's starting to take control of this one now. And it all actually stemmed from when Optic had a little bit of control and they gave away the shock down bottom middle. And now with SSG having the advantage, they're beginning to get more aggressive. They're beginning to up the pace here. They don't want to allow this to be a standoff. They don't want to allow Optic to start to set up. The kill lead is now 12. And Optic need to find a way to wrestle their way back into this game. It cannot be trades. It has to be an all 4 dead to give them control once more.
Legend gets Deadzone, trying to stay alive on Prius. Formal does just enough to stay alive and avoid the headshot with the help of the thrust. Speak about can't be trades, it certainly cannot be free, clean picks. Optic do answer back with 2, but they're in trouble of running out of lives. They keep trading this one out.
There's a reason why Spacestation were undefeated on this mapping mode coming into this tournament. It's the way that they move around the map and find themselves in really awkward situations to just bully their opponents. Unexpected angles and crossfire that you struggle to deal with. Where you're suddenly like, how on earth did they get there? How did they, were they spawning here? No, usually they just find an angle. They find a way, a route to get behind you. And they've been able to punish Optic over and over again to take this significant lead. It's 10 kills still, and they are 14 away from the grand final.
The best teams on this map close distance very quickly, capitalize on damage even quicker than that. Eco gets Formal down to no shields. Formal rechal's, gets a kill he probably shouldn't have, but Lqgend was there to spare his blushes. Deadzone gets the camouflage. Lucid continues to jiggle peek. 8 kills the difference. 12 kills the margin of error.
This camouflage could be massive for Deadzone and Optic Gaming. They've shut it down to, what, a difference of 9 now. You have to pick up these kills. He gets 1, but he's not going to be able to get 2, and it's still now a 10-kill lead. And SSG not only have the lead, but they've also got the shock in the hands of SSGesus. Doesn't find the one off the spawn, but they now know where Optic Gaming are, so they can begin to reposition themselves and find those angles that I was talking about. Set the ambush, wait for Optic to finally push, and then you pounce.
Light your candles. This SSG could be about to go a little bit Old Testament here. Deadzone and Formal not moving an inch, not willing to give up any information. TriPPPeY tries to make the cross, gets there successfully, gets hunted down, gets traded out. Numbers favor now Optic Gaming. The issue is they have so little lives left to play with. Damage is being done. Lqgend's in no man's land, tries to scamper, tries to scarper away. He gets cut down. Lucid's in trouble on Prius. Lucid just about survives, but he needs help, and he needs it quick.
He does need help. 7-kill game, maybe get a 6-kill game. Optic are closing the gap, 5-kill game. And they are slowly but surely worming their way back into this one. It all had to happen from that push over towards blue as well. If they had pushed out and gone all 4 dead, it was game over. 45-40. Still life for the green wall. 4 kills in it now as Lqgend down in bottom middle, looking to try and listen to those call-outs. Camo is coming up too. If Optic can get a couple of kills and get the camouflage, this is still game on. It's still series on, but Lqgend gets the flank, and alongside the rest of the squad, they make it 47.
Lqgend creates the opening, forges a path for his team. Eco falls with the camouflage. It's a 4-kill game. Bounds isolated in blue. TriPPPeY gets 1. Bound doesn't seem to know which way to turn. TriPPPeY's got the thrust. Formal's coming in through the window. Bound's in big trouble. Bound goes down. It's a 2-kill game. And Optic can start to believe.
Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, Optic Gaming suddenly find themselves back into this game. And that's why they've been unbeaten on Slayer so far this tournament. They always find a way. And once more between these two teams, so little separates the two.
Deadzone goes down. TriPPPeY tried to get over to cover fire. Lqgend's there again, forging another opening, creating even more chaos. Lqgend still got TriPPPeY down to no shield. TriPPPeY falls. 2-kill game. SSG need 1. Eco falls.
But still he's gone down. But it does not matter because Lqgend stands. And he stands proud because SSG are able to slam home the final kill. They take down Optic Gaming. And they will progress to the grand final here in what was a very hotly contested winners final. Such little margins to separate the two.
It was a 1-kill game in the end. 50-49. StelluR got a huge kill on Garbage Truck. He made the difference. Both teams were brave. Both teams gave it their all. What an incredible winners finals we have just seen. And we've still got more Halo action to come.
I can't quite believe that Optic were down by 12 and they pulled that one back to just a 1-kill difference. But it does show that that impressive lead from SSG just about got them over the line. But in these final moments when it was so close there, you thought maybe there was something from Optic Gaming to have a miracle run in those final moments. But the clutch kill coming through, SSG, confirmation, a 3-2 win to send them into the grand final here.
SSG confirm they will be minimum top 2. That makes it Lqgend's best ever placement, the highest placing player from Europe of all time. We spoke about it, we might have sounded like a broken record at times, brought in to make the difference. He had the most damage in the lobby in that final Slayer. And he could be all they need.
Well, boy, did he make a difference. And someone else who makes a difference, although a different one, maybe behind enemy lines, is on the stage with Blaze. Take it away.